Welcome back and a very good morning to you. We are on the final stretch of this particular show, and of course right now, like I had mentioned before the short commercial break, I want to take a special focus on talking about the religion, its place, and of course religious leaders and civil society when it comes to matters democracy following the just concluded electioneering period. Joining me right now we have Mike Brown, we also have Steve Ogutu. Thank you very much, gentlemen, for joining us. After the just concluded electioneering period and leading up to the president being sworn in, how well, or rather what part do you think the civil society as well as the religious leaders played during that period, Mike?
Okay, during that period, the most thing they were trying to pray was to create peace or to speak more about peace. And a lot of prayer on peace, which on my side did not go on very well. Because I read the Bible, a Christian, and there is nowhere the Bible tells us to pray about peace. The Bible says we make peace. So this is the part which today I want to emphasize, that it's not about too much prayer on peace, because the country was very, very much divided. And we could pray about peace, but still go back in our churches that are still divided on different opinions and even the way things were going. So at the moment, the key word that we are calling all our people is now not just praying, but to make peace. And we are sure that the country will stand again, because at the moment there are still a lot of things that need to be put together.
Okay, Steve, the place of religious leaders, religion, and of course, the civil society.
Mm-hmm. Well, thanks for having me on your show today. I think we saw during the past few months, the church came out very strongly, and also the civil societies, in talking about why we need to have peaceful election and a peaceful country. Mm-hmm. We saw civil societies supporting activities that are geared toward achieving peace. Peace rallies in areas that were considered as hotspots for conflict. We saw religious leaders trying to call together these political leaders, the main political parties, to just come together and dialogue about things that affect this country. But I think the focus was so much on peace and not on really the root causes of what is causing Kenyans, on what is causing the
division and lack of unity.
That's right.
Yeah.
And so I think there was a gap in that. They were sweeping a lot of things under the carpet of peace. Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to be inviting calls. Actually, the numbers will be at the bottom of the screen. A special focus right now is on healing the nation. What is your suggestion, and why, perhaps in your opinion, do you think that Kenyans tend to be divided every time during an electioneering period? And of course, this is sort of where we are right now as a country. So you can get to give your contribution. We'd very much so like to hear from you. Our Twitter handle is at K24 TV. The hashtag is K24 Alpha J. Let's get talking. Now, Mike, you talk about the kind of division. Steve points out that we tend to talk about peace, but we do not talk about the root causes. So, in your opinion, what are some of the root causes?
Okay. Acceptance is one of the greatest key of healing. Whenever we want to talk of healing, and acceptance is when people come out and identify the problem. And I agree with him where he says that we were sweeping a lot when we talk. People are hurting, and we are trying to cover the wound. You don't heal a wound as a doctor. You know that you don't heal a wound by covering it only. Sometimes you have to uncover the wound, wash the wound, go back to the real root. Like one of the root which was there was a great key of tribalism. And we saw this even in our religious circle, whereby every preachers were relying on their side. And they were praying according to their parties, in fact. People were praying for their own people, and they were condemning other people in front of. So now the key word is that we need to go to the root. The root is the country is absolutely divided along the tribal lines, which we need now to face it and say, hey, we accept there are tribes which are good and they are blessing to us because you didn't choose which tribe to be born. It was not an accident. It's only your father who chose it by doing what he did. But that does not mean you are wrong to be born in that tribe. But all the same, it doesn't mean that tribe is superior than any other tribe. So the church, we were afraid to face, to accept that we have problems. We were afraid to accept that the country has some problems. So we were covering it by the name called peace. So we were just saying, praying for peace, but down the heart, you could see the division. You could see in the social media the kind of messages people were sending.
Has this changed right now?
It has not, because the bad thing is this. That's why we're saying we have to go to the root. Because if we don't go to the root, very few people will send you a message on peace. And now let Kenya move forward. Now let us support what is going on.
Yeah. So Mike and Steve, we're going to be having quite a number of calls coming in. So I might be forced to interrupt you whenever you're in the middle of your of the conversation. Like right now, we have actually Victor watching us from Kakamega. A very good morning to you, Victor. Thank you for first of all tuning in and calling. What's your question or comment, and why do you think there's this sort of division that we're talking about right now?
Good morning.
Good morning to you.
I want to, first of all, thank this opportunity for sharing K24. There are a lot of things that have happened in Kenya during the election. And we remember even few days before the election, it happened that Chris Sando was murdered. So actually the president should begin by going to these families of these people who are murdered. He should begin by healing these people first. And then he should order the police to stop the killing that is happening in this nation. Otherwise, this country will go in a very bad place. In fact, others are saying that Kenya should secede. And that is not the way to go. I believe if the president takes the people who are around him away completely from him, then he can call Raila Odinga, they sit down and dialogue. There is no need for Kenya to secede. There is no need also for Raila to swear itself in on the other side. It is a very bad direction. Even as for me, I'm a music producer. I'm the music producer of Kakamega Records. Even my clients are Kikuyus. Some of them even fled away because of this tension. So I would want Kenya to be peaceful again. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much, Victor, for that. And of course, for him, he says that he almost quietly says it's upon Raila and Raila Odinga. And
the president before this second chance came out very, very open, and I like what he said. The time we were talking about peace, and he said, peace starts with you. And I'm insisting that peace does not just stand on the head. We people on the ground, people on the grassroots, we are the one who will have problems because the president has security. Raila has some security. It's only us, people like us, who don't have security. So if we are stirred up to create a problem, we are the one to suffer. So that's why people should start speaking peace, not just wait on those people on top, because those people are in their business. Politics is their work. Politics, all they are doing, they are in business. They are being paid. None of them is not lacking anything by the virtue of going out or doing all this. But we are the people on the ground, people in the church, in a church, whereby we have to identify we have a problem on tribalism and face it completely, not sweep it under the carpet.
Okay. Steve, there's a notion that once Raila Odinga and President Uhuru Kenyatta come together, then the nation is healed. What do you think?
I think, first of all, I wanted to comment on President Kenyatta's speech during his inauguration. It was a very wonderful speech, and he talked about how his intention about healing the nation. and even extended an olive branch to the other guys on the other side, the opposition side. And I just want to agree with what Victor said, the caller from Kakamega, that the country looks divided, and it's not a good thing for us. So I think it's incumbent upon President Uhuru Kenyatta, now that he is the president of the country with full mandate to govern this country. It's incumbent upon him to not just talk, but walk the talk. What I mean here is all the good things he said in his speech during his inauguration, it's time we need to see these things happening, even in how he's going to be appointing cabinet secretaries, permanent secretaries, and other positions in the parastatal departments and things like that, so that people begin to feel they are part of his government. Remember, this is his last stretch as the president of the Republic of Kenya. And so I know he's concerned about leaving a positive legacy. And like I've always said, I know President Kenyatta is somebody who means good for this country. He's loved across board. You know, he had votes in areas like Western Kenya that are perceived to be NASA's stronghold. And so he should just express and strengthen the goodwill he has about unifying this country. I think that's my remarks to that end. I simply asked Mike here whether we are still divided as a nation, and whether sentiments, rather, when you take to social media, whether there's a lot of hate going on. What is your take? Sure, I think we are divided. And like he said, it's always good for us to acknowledge that we are divided. Once we accept that we are divided, then it's easy to start identifying what are these things that are dividing us as a people. Like you've said, when you go to social media, every day there is a lot of hate going on. There's a lot of people saying, we want secession, we are not part of this government, that Uhuru Kenyatta is not our president, and such things. And like I said, I think it's incumbent upon President to just come out and extend an olive branch, literally, like he mentioned, like he said in his speech, and begin making other sides that are feeling like they're not part of this government really feel part of Kenya and start a healing process. Okay. And there's also something I needed to mention. We had these issues of the TJRC report, right? They came out with very wonderful recommendations on issues that are said to be dividing Kenya, historical injustices, issues of land, issues of, many other issues, resource distribution and things like that. And I'm hoping that the president, in this final stretch, as he seeks to build his legacy, he's going to have that on top of his agenda. Yeah.
I believe we have a caller. Brenda is watching us from Nairobi, if I got the name right. A very good morning to you.
Hello, K24, good morning.
Good morning to you. Thank you for calling in. What's your question or comment?
Okay, I have a comment on the topic of today, healing the nation.
Yes.
Hello?
Yeah, we can hear you, Brenda. Go ahead.
Okay, my comment is, the best thing that needs to be done as a country, especially for these two tribes, we have the Luos and the Kikuyus. I see this is the major problem you're having.
Yeah.
So I think the leaders from these both tribes should talk to their people, should really come to the ground and talk to them so that the peace can prevail, you see?
Okay.
I think that is the main challenge you're having. These two tribes and their leaders really need to do something. Otherwise, we are not going the right direction as a country. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Brenda. Paul Otieno, who's watching us from the U.S., I think through online, says, the problem with us, the religious leaders, he is a priest actually, is that most of us are our tribe before being followers of Christ. The church has been compromised by the politicians through the same religious leaders. And Mike, I'd like you to take that.
Yeah, that one, I truly agree with this guy, because I followed most of the prayer that were being done in the rallies and the campaign, and sometimes I could wish that person should not have said some of kind of prayer, because I wondered how God would answer that prayers. And the way that my friend has just said from the U.S. that some of us, we are first tribal before we become anything else. Even after we convert and call ourselves Christ-like Christians, we end up still moving forward and pushing towards our side. And that's why in many rallies, if it was a rally for Jubilee, in this case, the people would pray. There were people who were praying prayer to support Jubilee, not prayer to bring peace to the country. If it was a rally for Odi and NASA, I heard even some of the preachers that were talking bad about the president. So that's why I go back to my root story, that we have to accept we have problems. I have talked to some churches in where I come in Nakuru, and I told the pastors that the problem was us first, because we have to accept that we did wrong by dividing people in our churches. Even now, you can go to the churches that believe their tribe is a superior tribe than the others, and we have to heal from the ground. And normally it's a challenge to the pastors to know that judgment will start from the house of God. Because when we have a church that if a pastor is a Kikuyu and the church is in town, all the Kikuyu are members and all the elders are there. That is the same image we have in the government. And now you can see even with the NASA, we have problem whereby every tribe feels our people should be put in any small position. Okay. So we have to accept there is a problem, and then we go out in a way to look for the solution, because every question has an answer. And every problem has a solution. But the key word we have to accept, and the president has to accept, when we talk about the dialogue, what I know, the opposition, the only dialogue they want to hear is that they're in power. So, and the government already have received the power. They are not ready to share. Okay. They say how share it.
Julius from Kisia. Very good morning to you, Julius.
You are talking with Reverend Julius Mongeri.
Thank you, Julius, for calling in.
My comment is,
yes,
you know, the problem here in Kenya we have, Kenya, they want peace, but they don't want the truth.
What is the truth according to you, Julius?
You know, when people they want when people they want peace, they must get. When people they want peace, they must get the truth.
Okay.
There is no way this will come without the truth.
What is the truth?
The truth is justice. Yaani hakuna ile njia tunaweza kusema amani, kwa sababu amani huwa inasaliwa na ukweli.
Okay. Okay, thank you very much, Julius. Now, remember, when you call us live, turn off your TV, reduce the volume so that we can get to hear you and avoid that kind of feedback. He says the only problem with the country is that we do not, want the truth. I don't know, from your opinion, Steve, what do you think the truth would be?
I'm just trying to think for him. I think what he meant is, the truth he's talking about is, we, as a country, we say we love peace, but we are not ready, or we are not seeing some goodwill to address some of these issues that are affecting us. To face the truth that indeed we have tribalism, we have issues of negative ethnicity, we have issues of marginalization and things like that. I think that is what he's trying to bring out. And until we begin to accept and acknowledge that indeed we have some of these issues as thorns in our flesh as a country, then I think we will still remain in the same situation we are in, even in the next 50 years to come. So I think it's incumbent upon, and again, it's not just about churches, you know. It's supposed to have a multi-stakeholder approach, right? That the church should be working with other institutions like the police, you know, the community, and other stakeholders in this, the community itself, you know, so that we have, an amicable solution to some of these issues that are affecting us. But if we just leave it to the church, they'll keep on calling press conferences at, Serena Hotel and hotels like that, and just leave it there, and will not see, tangible results that we desire to see as a people. Okay. And so to that extent, I think...
Yeah. We do have a call from Moyale. Anwar is watching us from there. A very good morning to you.
A very good morning to you, my dear brother.
Good morning.
Ningependa kuweza kuchangia hii mambo ya the healing the nation, eh?
Yes.
Yeah, we really heard it, His Excellency the President Uhuru Kenyatta, when he was taking the oath of the office. Alizungumzia mambo mengi ambaye ni kuhusiana na the healing the nation. Akasema sasa kwamba ndugu zangu tushikane, tuweze kujenga taifa pamoja. Sasa tukisema sijui church waweze kuita press conference wapi, sijui international community, I don't know, sijui human rights. Haya mambo yote tuweke kando ndugu zangu. Mimi ningependa kuwasihi, tafadhali, the country is already been healed by the verdict of the Kenyans, by the Supreme Court. The President has taken the oath of the office, which was being witnessed by the world. So tafadhalini, tuwaomba, wacheni Mheshimiwa Rais Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta aendelee kazi, tuwache mambo ya the healings, tumwachie kazi Mheshimiwa Rais, kwa sababu we have the law, we have the arms of the law. Mambo sasa tuwachie, kuna serikali na kuna opposition. Mungu amewajalia, kuna wabunge wameteuliwa kwa upinzani, senator na governors. Wacha wafanye kazi yao. Yeah. Na Jubilee ina wao. Okay. Na Rais Uhuru Kenyatta ana jambo lake la kufanya. Kwa hivyo kusema siji kuita press conference, siji kufanya nini, haya mambo yote hayatuhusu sasa. Sasa tuwaomba tafadhali, haswa tuwaomba the media, tafadhalini tuangazie, tuone Kenya yaenda mbele. Tusurudi nyuma. Sasa solution ni gani? Solution ipi tunatafuta ndugu zangu? Suluhisho ishapatikana na ishaisha, na ishahudhuriwa na marais wa kutoka pembe zote za ulimwengu. Okay. Wametuunga mkono.
Thank you very much, Anwar, for that. Justice Juma says harmony is threefold: with your creator, people, and within yourself. And currently, a lot is desirable from dishonest events that have ensued in our country. It's only the truth that can set us free, with which both politicians and religious leaders shy away from.
Yes. Okay. Well, just the way my brother started by saying, sweeping things under the carpet. The truth is, we have the president, and that one is undeniable. And we have the opposition, and we are looking forward to have a strong country because during this season, as you know, our economy has truly been affected in all sectors. But having said that, it doesn't mean that Mwananchi has no say to help these people in leadership, because these people are the ones who have been voted by the same person. But they were not voted to take control of everything. They were voted to lead us. And the problem came in this when we called leadership bread. Hiyo ndio shida kubwa. So every people who feel they are not in the leadership or near the leadership or towards the leadership with their tribes or with their kingpins, they think they are missing the bread.
Okay, and Mike, Anwar says, we should now accept the kind of place where we are at in terms of, we've already had the president sworn in, elections is over, but then this happens every 5 years that we get to this point, then we say, we'll sort it out once it comes again in the next election.
This is the truth. The way Arnold is saying that the president is there, it is the president himself when he said security started with the people. He was the president that time. He was the chief commander of the army. But he knew if people leave everything to him, there will be nothing. Because, for example, if we don't come out and keep on encouraging people to walk through the way of peace, the people will come out of the way because everybody feels they need something. And then we will have a burden that even the president cannot be carrying. So us, as a way to support the president, is to speak peace, even bring meetings, talk to people, heal the nation, because the nation has gone through very tough moment. People need healing. So if we just cover now, the president is there, the country will go there, there is no magic the president can do. The president needs encouragement. He needs people to work towards the way to peace. He needs people who can talk and show the nation is gearing towards a prospering nation, which is Kenya.
Okay. And Steve, you brought about the issue of the TJRC report, and perhaps that is part of the truth that one of the callers, I can't remember his name, was talking about.
Julius.
But then, you know, there was discussions as to whether the TJRC report should have been tackled before the election. Some said let's shelve it because it might open up some wounds. So then what happens in such instances?
Wow, very interesting. Yeah, and then now maybe, you know, in the TJRC report, there were, like I said, several issues mentioned, and they were we had several also names mentioned, you know, and I know it was before the election wasn't the ideal moment for some people to just see that report implemented, but now I think, like I said, I know the president is concerned about leaving a positive legacy. Yeah. And if he's genuinely concerned about that, then part of what he's going to do is to actually spearhead the implementation of these reports. Some of the things that he mentioned in his speech that he was going to tackle, like issues of land and things like that, are things that are well captured as divisive factors in the TJRC report. And I know that if he really puts his focus on this, then I have no doubt that at least we are going to begin seeing people at the coast feeling like being part of the country, and people of other regions who are feeling alienated, you know, people in northeastern part of Kenya, they'll start feeling like they are part of Kenya, and they have a caring president, President Kenyatta. Mm-hmm. And again, we cannot deny that we don't have a president. He was sworn in, and I think it's time he stamps his authority and begin acting like a father to his children, the citizens of Kenya. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay, we have a call. A very good morning to you. Who am I talking to?
You are talking to Deputy Modiri.
Yeah.
I'm Tikasarani, and I wanted to talk more about this country.
Yeah.
I wanted to say that Kenyans must know that we have a president who was elected, and we cannot have good presidents.
Yeah. David, okay, seems we've lost that particular call. Who else do we have? We have Bonnie. I don't know if it's Boniface. Bonnie, a very good morning to you.
Good morning, Ian.
Good morning.
Yes, I have quite a number of issues that I want to put out.
Yeah.
In case that we need as a nation to get through healing.
Yeah.
I have heard one of the panelists talking of the Truth, Justice and Reconciliation report, which for some time have been shelved. Some elements need to be revisited so that we can really ensure that there is justice, and especially on issues of resource and land issues. Number two, our leaders need to take a very, very pivotal role on this. Yeah. Currently, if we look at the nation, actually there are two major tribes that really need to sit down and reevaluate their way of living. That is the Kikuyus and the Luos. Their leaders, not only political but religious, as well as those who are in politics, as well as all those in the villages, that is the elders, need to sit down and come up with a framework in which the two communities need to be integrated. It's quite disturbing to see, like, after every election cycle, we go back to these kind of elements where people need to fight. We really need to look at the root issues. We really need to look at the root issues that causes this and address them. Otherwise, if we do the tertiary looking, then we may not be addressing the issue, and it will reoccur every other time we have an election cycle.
Yeah. Okay, we have another call. A very good morning to you. Who am I talking to?
Pastor Ruben from Parito.
Yes.
Parweta Ward. Begin it very quickly.
Okay, go ahead.
Ningependa kuchangia ya kwamba tulipiga kura vizuri, rais tukaapisha. Ningeomba tu wa Kenya tuangalie mbele na tuulize Mungu mambo mengi kuhusu nchi yetu ya Kenya. Kwa sababu tuliapisha uhuru na sisi saa hii ni kufocus kwa kasi ya nchi yetu. Hakuna kitu kingine tunaangalia nyuma tena. So ningeomba kwa Kenya tupige maombi kwa Mungu. Hata watu wa Nyanza waangalie, kwa sababu ukiangalia juzi vile kazi ilifanyika, ilionekana ya kwamba ni Nyanza peke yake. Na vale pengine kama Nairobi. Lakini nchi yetu ilikuwa salama. So ningeomba hata viongozi ya makanisa kule Nyanza tuhubiri amani na tuangalie Mungu. Mungu ameteua huyu, amepatia kibali. So ningeomba wa Kenya na media wacha tuangazie mambo ya kujenga mwananchi na maendeleo. Otherwise, ubarikiwe K24 na mfanye kazi yenu. Mungu awabariki sana.
Okay, thank you very much. Now back to you, Steve. We're talking about the truth and some of these issues, for instance, tackling the TJRC report, whether that is perhaps a solution to addressing some of the country's issues.
Yes, and like I said, I think it is the solution. And the implementation of the recommendation is the solution. And I can tell you, we can bet on this, that once the president expresses goodwill and acts on that goodwill, we'll begin seeing a change of attitude, change of behavior towards and a spirit of nationhood cropping in. And because there are people who are feeling they've been oppressed for a very long time, from since the 50s, and they haven't, throughout the past regimes, they haven't seen a regime that is really concerned about solving their issues. Instead, they've been seeing, neo-colonialism and things like that. More oppressive regime, like the Moi regime and the other regimes before that. And so I think, like I said, I know President Kenyatta is somebody who has a soft heart and somebody who means good for this country. And I believe that if he puts his heart to doing this, then that will be the genesis, the renaissance of Kenya going forward.
Mike, you take on the TJRC report and any other issues that you think perhaps, injustices that maybe you feel that should be addressed.
Yeah, there are, like the land issue is a major thing, especially when it goes to the people like in the Maa community, where they still feel there are a lot of things, and people in the coast. But also having said that, it's very important people to understand. In every time someone loses, someone else gains. So loss and gains are common friends. Someone loses something, the other person gains. But it's very important for the person who has gained to win the loser. Because the loser always will be a pain in your life. Like now, when people lose their land or lose their sense of belonging, whereby they feel this country don't care about them. And the way I said earlier that when we use the word for leadership like bread, and so people think this bread is going only for these particular people. It's not our side. And that's why my appeal today is that let us stop thinking the leadership of the country as food, whereby people think hii ni mkate, na sasa tupeane nusu ama tunakula yote mzima. When that one goes down to the ground, people think, oh, I'm not part of this mkate. Let me make noise until even you cannot eat the same mkate in peace.
A lot of sentiments coming here online saying that tribalism seems to feature a lot. Joseph says that that is the whole truth, that even appointments in church are now tribal.
Yeah.
So sad for Kenya at the moment. May God help us fight the Goliath tribalism. So let's talk about dealing with tribalism, because it is coming quite a lot on the feedback on the hashtag K24. How do you deal with it? How can we run away from the fact that, perhaps we can't even run away from the fact that we all do belong to a certain tribe.
Right.
But then how do we use it to our advantage?
Let me give you a good example about myself. Me, I come from the Luya land, and I married a Kikuyu, and I have children who are Mulukuyu. They are Muluya Mgikuyu. They don't speak any other language. And when I wanted to circumcise them, I had a church which belonged to Kikuyu, but they are doing a good job. I took my kids there. I could have followed my own roots, and that was shocked. I went to that place, I will never forget this, and they asked me, even you are coming here? It was like the place, but now, my children received the best services because they were Kenyan. And now this healing is starting from many, many things. In fact, I appeal to Wakikuyu wanaume, please, oweni hata nyinyi kabila zingine. Tumewaolea mabibi tu. Nyinyi oweni pia. This is how we heal from many, many angles. And you see, young guys, they have no tribalism. It's only us, the old one, people of a certain age, who still thinks, and that's why I'm saying this tribalism has been perpetuated. When we look at something as it will help our community.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, Rose is watching us. A very good morning to you, Rose.
Good morning, Ian, and the people there.
Good morning.
Morning to you.
Yeah, what is your question?
I'd like to make my piece with this one.
Yeah.
On healing the nation.
Yes.
Yes.
Go ahead.
Number one.
Yeah.
Indeed, we are a sick nation, we must accept. And as much as the elections are over,
yeah.
And we have sworn in a president, he is a symbol of unity. And I believe that he knows we really need a healing. So we are trusting God to help him, even to appoint people in various counties who will be having meetings with the people, with locals everywhere, to bring in the true healing. We need our pastors, we need the sheikhs in the mosque, we need our teachers, we need the mother, we need the father. Even where we buy our sugar at the shop, we need somebody to help us to get through this situation so that our healing can begin from down onwards. The president cannot do it alone. In Nakuru, we have purpose. For like me, I where my neighbors are, we never talked anything against one another. And when we discuss politics, we speak it as it is, and it has never brought any ill feelings to us. On the side of our statement, the Honorable Raina, personally, I know he's hurting. It's very difficult, very, very difficult to go through what he's going through. And we don't need people to talk ill against him. Yeah. He also needs a lot of healing. He needs a lot of comfort. And I'm praying that those people who are around him shall realize what he has gone through also, help him also, heal him, as much as our president needs healing. So this is something that is collective as a nation. Yeah. And after the healing, then we can go on to issues like the truth and justice and reconciliation recommendations that were made. Because we cannot open that Pandora's box while we are still sick. Okay. We need to heal fast. So that whatever is in that Pandora's box, when it is open, it will not bring enmity and hatred again.
I like what Rose has said. Thank you very much for that. We need to heal fast before we open some of these reports that were done and look at the injustice. Steve, you'll comment on that because that was your point. We do have another call. Good morning. Who am I talking to? Caxton from Mwingi, actually. A very good morning to you, Caxton.
Good morning to you.
What do you think about when it comes to healing the nation? What is your suggestion?
Okay, let me use the Kiswahili language. Kile mimi naweza kusema ni kwamba taifa letu la Kenya kwa sasa limegawanyika. Halina amani. Kile ningechangia ni kusema ya kwamba hawa viongozi wawili, Raila Amolo Odinga na rais ambao ni mtanguliwa wa hili taifa la Kenya, ni Uhuru Kenyatta, wakae pamoja kwanza, alafu wasikilizane, ndio wale wako upande huu na wale wako upande huu watuunganishe pamoja kama jamii moja. Then wachungaji nao, viongozi wa hili taifa nao wakae pamoja, waombe hili taifa, na kama inawezekana waitane pamoja mkutano wa watu wote wa Kenya, viongozi wa kanisa na viongozi wa upande huu na upande wa Jubilee na NASA, tuombe pamoja, tuombe taifa letu la Kenya, at least tunaweza pata amani, kwa sababu sasa tunapoongea taifa limegawanyika.
Okay, thank you very much, Caxton, for that. Just tackle what Rose says in regards to, we need to heal fast before we open the TJRC report so that we can go back to matters tribalism.
I think I want to start by disabusing that notion. I think that's what I started by saying, that we've been sweeping a lot under the carpet of peace. We cannot heal fast if issues that are seen to be dividing us are not addressed. So I think it is the other way around, that we need to have an honest dialogue. And an honest dialogue means engaging different stakeholders, to address some of these issues that I mentioned. Issues of land injustices, economic injustices, and things that are seen to be making people not feel as being part of the mainstream economic and social development, agenda. And I think to that extent, there need to be goodwill, like I said, from our leaders, the president, the governors, the MPs and people like that. And so that it is not just, say, the Jubilee Party handling it, but there need to have a collaborative effort, even from the NASA side, so that we can have really this country truly healed, and then we move forward as a healed nation. Okay. Yes.
Let's talk about someone has described it as you wanted to comment on that?
No, I wanted to comment.
Someone has talked about on the issue of Goliath being, tribalism being the Goliath that we need to deal with, and I simply asked how we cannot definitely run away from the fact that we belong to certain tribes, but then how can we use it to our advantage?
Yes, I think we cannot run from the different tribes we come from, and that's why it is always said that we should embrace our diversity, because again that is our strength. But then how it has been used by some of our leaders who want to survive on ethnic division so that they can earn jobs as MPs or governors, I think that is a wrong way. And I'm just praying and hoping that Kenyans start coming back to their senses, and this fight has to start by Kenyans themselves, the fight of tribalism. Like it said, encouraging issues of things like intermarriages, and things like that. And I'll tell you for free that you and I know that tribalism is real in this country. The other day I was having a conversation with a friend, and he was telling me that he got a dismissal letter. He works in some five-star hotel in the city, and he told me that one day he went to the office sometime in May, and he got a dismissal letter without any warning. And later on, I think 3 or so days later, he told me that he came to realize that he was dismissed because the person who was in charge, the HR, belonged to a certain tribe and viewed him as a person who belongs to a certain tribe, and therefore did not deserve, in quotes, being in that position, and ended up giving that position to a person of his own tribe. And I feel that it's happening even in companies, in organizations, and it's something that needs to be condemned, and it's something that needs to be stopped. And we need to start seeing even the president now begin to really punishing some of these people who were seen to be perpetrating these, so to speak, heinous act.
Okay. Hold on, Mike, before you comment on that. Justice Juma is online. A very good morning to you, Justice.
Good morning, Ian.
Good morning, Justice. Thank you for calling in.
Yes, actually, Actually, calling to contribute to the topic on healing the nation.
Yes.
Hello?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yes, the healing of the nation, actually, when you're talking about healing, what comes to our mind is peace.
Yeah.
And an environment where there is harmony, an environment where everyone has no issue with each other and everyone gets along. And as we are talking, we've gone through a series of events within our country. And to talk about peace, for us to have peace, Hebrew says peace is shalom, meaning you have harmony with your Creator, you have harmony with yourself, and you have harmony with people around you. And as we stand or talk, there could be a pseudo-harmony that we can propagate through the media, that all of us are getting along. And if it is pseudo, that means it might not be acceptable before our Creator, because we are all answerable to God. And the failure to have harmony with our Creator, that means even an individual within yourself, you lack harmony. And what you sow is what you reap. So if indeed people fail to have harmony or peace within themselves and walk in pretense, then we will be lying to ourselves. And Ian, by the precedents that we've had, actually some of us have come to conclusion that the leadership brand we've been having, both political, both religious, even the civil society, we need to extremely depart and have new leadership. And Kenyans, if we sit back and watch, because we've seen political leaders being urged from both quarters, both religious, both civil society, and they're calling them to come together and dialogue so that we avoid all the stalemates that have come since August. We went to October, and now we have begun another chapter. And Ian, if we are not careful, we will be going through this for the next 5 years. And this is not healthy for our country. Yeah. It is not healthy for our economy.
Okay.
And we are of the opinion,
I'm
of the opinion that for us to get a lasting solution or a peace that is desirable, then we have to start speaking truth to each other. And truth without hiding. Let's say it as it is. And that's what I expected the church or religious organization to speak to the political fraternity. And looking at them, I've seen them taking sides, actually tribal sides, not even spiritual sides. So if we are really to heal our land and to move forward, truth has to be spoken.
Okay.
And
the
truth as it is, things are not, people are not sincere to one another.
Okay.
There's a lot of shortchanging.
Okay, thank you, Justice. People are not sincere to one another. There's a lot of shortchanging. Mike Brown, we're still talking about matters tribalism. And
tribalism, that's what I'm saying. This is a strong thing that we need to face it because it affects every tribe. You know, the big thing in Kenya, when you say the word tribalism, people just think of other tribes against one tribe. But I'm telling you the truth, there are Kikuyu that suffer a lot through the fact that there is tribalism in Kenya. There is Kalenjin. I've had a sister, just a story like yours, that the boss could not allow her to go to the next level just because she's a Kalenjin. And people will think she goes to that level because of her tribe. So the fact that she's qualified, also by the virtue that she's a Kalenjin, she cannot get that door. The fact that a Kikuyu is good in something, we want to close it just because we don't want to give them the job. That is whereby we must speak the truth to ourselves. If someone is qualified, it doesn't matter even if you have 50 Kikuyu but they are qualified. It's not a balance whereby we bring people just because you want to balance the tribes. So you just punish the people who have worked hard from any other tribe. So it's a deeper truth whereby we are facing our fears. Like now, the president will be appointed.
But I'm not getting the answer correctly from the both of you. How then do we use tribalism to our benefit? Because we cannot run away from our tribes. So before that, Samuel is watching us from Nyeri. A very good morning to you.
Good morning to you.
Good morning.
My name is Samuel. I'm a major of Gatubiro Tetu Nyeri.
Yeah.
I'm hearing you very well, but what I'm going to say is there,
yeah,
this country is ours.
Yeah.
So ile kitu ya maana pale tuache difference sasa, we sit together, ndio nchi iendelee. Sasa tuangalie difference, sasa tuseme mapolitiko imeisha, na ndio sasa nchi yetu iendelee. Kama president angalie kila mahali waliopiga kura, wasiopiga kura, tukae pamoja wote tujenge serikali. Na sasa tuache mambo mengi, kwa sababu sasa hii tunaendelea kusema ati tukifika tarehe 12 tunaenda kufanya hivi na hivi. We are not healing. Okay. So tunarudi kwa hiyo kudoda.
Thank you so much. How do you use tribalism to our advantage?
No, tribalism is very, very good because amazingly in Kenya, if you do what we call a statistic on every tribe, we have advantage of every tribe in this country. It's amazing how you can bring all this tribe and bring a strong nation. We have people that if they are teachers, you know that's a good teacher. We have people who are doing farming. We have runners who we can use as a, like for example, we have people, you want to repair your car. There are people who just go, this can do a good job. So every tribe, not only just a tribe, they also have an individual talent that is positive, that the other people needs it. It's true what we say, unity is not uniformity. We don't need to be in one uniform in order to unite on something. Yeah. But there are strength in every tribe. When you use those strength in every tribe, you get, we say this, when you want to have a strong horse, you will use even a donkey and a horse itself, and you get a strong mule, the way people can do in anything. So we can come back like in the churches. We start in the churches. We use the strength of our tribes. When you have people from this tribe who can do something, let them do it. And then we mix it and we accept it. And we don't go around saying that unless you force someone of your tribe just on something, and we know that is not a gift from our tribe. Every tribe is gifted under the earth because God himself started tribalism, so you can't fight it. Okay. Because when people are speaking one language, he's the one who broke the tower.
I'll throw the same question to you, Steve.
There's a very interesting analysis there. But I would agree with him that indeed the different tribes we have represent different strengths. And if these strengths can be merged, then it means we have a stronger nation. When I talk about different strengths in different tribes, I mean, we have people who are talented in different areas, like if it's athletics, like you said, we have very good people in the Kalenjin land. If it's business, we have good people in central Kenya. If it's football, we have people from western part of Kenya, And beyond that, I think also it behooves people in the different positions, the leadership positions, to also be drivers of positive tribalism. What I mean here is, distributing the different positions in their companies, in their organizations, in ways that reflect Kenyanness, that reflects the image of Kenya. Not having your tribe dominating an organization just because they're your tribe, but then trying to strike a balance so that we can have ultimately a face of Kenya, and everybody feeling that they're contributing enough to make Kenya a better place for everyone. Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to be taking final comments from the two of you. Let me just check in the meantime whether we have more feedback on the hashtag K24 Fajiri. Moses Naimwa says, does it mean that there is no intermarriage happening currently? So he says we need to, also take advantage, rather appreciate that intermarriage is happening. I think we have one more call. A very good morning to you. Actually, this is the last call now. A very good morning. Enoch is watching us from Eldoret.
Hello, how are you?
Fine, thank you.
Yes, I want to contribute to the fact that when we want to heal the nation, we need to go back to understand that there has been a lot of challenges that Kenya has gone through in this electoral process. One, there has been a lot of suspicion from either side. If you look through, you'll find that both the coalitions, the Jubilee would want to have a talk with the NASA, and the NASA would want to have a talk with the Jubilee. But neither of them would want to have that goodwill that in the event that they have a talk, there will be that resolve in the challenges that each of the parties have. Because each party would want to win in the event. It's unfortunate that right now the president has given out a hand that he wants a talk from all the people to support him to lead the nation. But every other time that the members of the NASA come on board.
Okay, seems we've lost Enoch. But final comments. And Mike, you said that it starts from us before it even gets to the leadership. Maybe you can give us your final word.
Yeah, it has to start with us. The great nations and other nations even, they have fought what we call tyranny of numbers, that the fact that your tribe has a larger number does not give you power for everything. So some of them have sacrificed even jobs. And I've seen some countries where a smaller tribe rules and a bigger tribes follows and do other business and come together. And then I've seen another countries where bigger tribes rules, but they also give an opportunity to other smaller tribes. So for us, we have to speak in the same way. And it should start from us in schools, in primary school, in nursery school, in Sunday school, in a church, and even goes now out of the walls. But if we keep on blaming and thinking that the president and the people, if the two people sit together, they will bring the solution, they will speak to talk on how to share what they can share. And that does not bring the solution. The solution is with a common mwananchi who will look at his neighbors, who will go to a shop, know that this shop belongs to this person, and this is our shop. And people will start owning themselves from the ground. And people will not be afraid to go and live to another land just because this land belongs to a certain tribe. And by so doing, we will start destroying this big enemy in ourselves of tribalism, where we see people and we think even their name betrays them.
Okay. Steve, final word.
Wow. In my final submission, I think I want to say that going forward, I think we need to see the president, when he'll be appointing cabinet secretaries, permanent secretaries, and the different national position, then we need to see a national image, you know. And what I mean by this is we need to see different tribes represented, different regions represented, and so that people begin to feel like, indeed, we are part of this government. But beyond that, I also want to say that we also need to create an environment, a country where your second name does not count when it comes to job and things like that, that you are employed based on merit and not based on your second name. And I think that is very important. And also, as a youth, my appeal to the president is, I know he did some good job in the previous term in creating employment for young people. I want to urge him that even as he seeks to build his legacy in this final stretch, then his focus, his primary focus, should be also, you know, creating more jobs for young people and fighting corruption that is eating a lot of money that can be used to create job opportunities for the youth. I think that's all for me.
Oh, there was a word I forget. My appeal to the president is to create a motto. During the Moi season or Moi era, we had a motto, the fact that things were not as right as we wanted, but there was a motto from primary school. We just used to know peace, love, and unity. It was a motto that created that particular time. The fact that things were not the way, but it was something motto. Now we need to create a motto whereby no abusive words and no other word. We have a motto, something that can be starred along the country.
A guiding principle.
Yeah.
Okay. And something else I forgot to say is I'm also expecting, just encouraging the president to reach out to Raila Odinga. Give him a call, have a meeting at a personal level. Avoid these so-called foot soldiers and sycophants. I think that way, I think they can be able to address these things. But if they go with the sycophants around them, I think it's even more dangerous going forward.
Thank you, Steve. I've been speaking to Steve Ogutu as well as Mike Brown. Thank you very much, gentlemen, for your time. And of course, most of all, thanking you for all the feedback, quite overwhelming, in regards to healing the nation. So you can tell the importance of this discussion. So let's stay together. Remember that at the end of the day, this country is for us all. My name is Zeno Fuller. Let's do this again, same time, same place tomorrow. That is at 6 a.m. Have a lovely day.